What's tomorrow going to be like? What kind of world are we going to live in when we get our permanent furloughs? Let's look into a brand new development. Television. Here's an expert with the lowdown on the inside facts.
The problem the film industry is facing, or the opportunity, is simple. For 100 years, the industry has constructed revenue models that were created in a world when it was actually difficult for consumers to see films. And so in turn, the film business has built upon that paradigm and created value chains that are now dependent upon restricting choice, supply and access. So to back this up, we've created laws to fine people and even lock them up if they attempt to watch something when they want to rather than when it suits us. But now we have the digital revolution.
Run for your lives! Everyone run for cover! The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
When I was a kid, you know, television was big. And television came in, and my parents were vaudevillians, and that changed their sort of bread and butter, because their bread and butter was vaudeville nightclubs. And when television came in, people didn't have to go out to the nightclubs to see entertainment. They could just turn their TV on. That changed the industry, right? All of a sudden it shifted. People stayed home and watched TV. Now, television is changing because people aren't watching television anymore. They're on their computers.
Well, I want my students to understand what the real change is in the entertainment industry and the communications revolution in general, and what digital means to all of these businesses. Sometimes I'm worried. Many business models are crashing. But the cool thing is that small technologies like this allow people to do things on a really low budget that they wouldn't have ever done before. And so today, if you made a movie and you couldn't get a big distributor to distribute it, you just put it up on YouTube. That was never existed. When I made Mean Streets, if I hadn't gotten one of the 6 major studios to buy it, it wouldn't have existed.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
New media is kind of what everyone has their eye on right now, is the internet and the web, and you know, it's where entertainment's going. If you look at Hulu, which is owned by NBC, or TV.com, which is owned by CBS, YouTube, that is a partnership with Warner Brothers, all these companies are keeping an eye on what's currently going on. In terms of accountability, I would say that the cream always rises to the top. You'll definitely watch, you know, a cat spinning around on a Roomba because it's funny and you'll pass it around, but it's not the same as sharing your favorite web series with a friend. The web provides an opportunity for people to create their own content and on their own terms, as well as people who don't have the inside track to Hollywood to create content outside of the bubble. For those that are interested, they'll find the film or they'll stumble upon it, and they can instantly give you comments back on, this rocked, or this sucked like hell. Creating content for the web definitely allows for a new type of artist to emerge.
Never have I ever killed a man in cold blood.
The artist has an interesting role in American society. He's usually ahead of the politics. But the only way he can exercise that role is by being supported to do really edgy work. That's why the word avant-garde, which meant the vanguard, the people who were at the tip of the spear in terms of innovation, were the people that changed things. And what I worry about is that as entertainment and art becomes more corporatized, it becomes just kind of all the same, just flat. And so where is the edge artist today?
Unconventionally, I would say that I'm an artist as opposed to a filmmaker or director or writer. I kind of do a little bit of everything. If you look around, everything in here I've created, and I don't want to say all the movie posters. Those I didn't make Star Wars. Well, this is the barnyard. It's an acre of land in the middle of Studio City, California. And it's kind of my own little studio. Those two are Alien Ninja, that's the suit. Alien Ninja is my first online sci-fi series. So we shot it in Hawaii, and it's a comedy. Hopefully it's funny, I don't know, it makes me laugh. It was just one of those things where I was trying to do something online that still had all the production value of like a feature film. I personally think I'm too young to be a dinosaur, but when I started in this business, like, people didn't even have a home computer. So it's really weird to see how it's changed, but what I've noticed is even when they first started doing all the original CG stuff, like on Jurassic Park, the people that were doing the computer work still, like, actually built the computers themselves, you know, like they didn't just go buy a Mac. But they were all effects guys too, like sculptors, model makers. So they brought all that same sensibility and use the computer as a like a new tool, you know. I remember everyone being afraid that like all our careers as tactile artists was over because the computer was going to take over. But now you see things on huge multi-million-dollar movies and you're like, that doesn't look right, you know. But what I think what it is there's less of the artists that have the understanding of the physical, you know, anatomy and the actual techniques, but they're not really, you know, bringing the human essence into it anymore. People start focusing more on how big can we make everything and forgetting about the actual core of what are we showing people. Are we just in a bus driving through a world, or are we actually taking a moment and telling a story and concentrating on something?
Success in this industry is usually measured by how much money you make. And if you get to do it as art, you're really lucky.
L to the I to the N to the G. Ling Ling, you forgot your bling bling.
I mean, like, how many newscasters did I play, you know, in my 20s? It's like, oh, here's another newscaster. And then there's a point where you go, I'm not playing any more newscasters. Or I am playing that newscaster because I really need to pay my rent this month. In the old days, you know, I'd get a rerun, right? I do, like, let's say Eli Stone. I did the pilot of Eli Stone. The pilots would normally run like 2 or 3 times in a month because they just wanted people to watch it. Well, now you can go online to abc.com and, you know, just screen Eli Stone for free for the first 3 weeks. Everything's just changing. You know, the CEOs and all those guys, I mean, talking about how the internet's going to be the next big thing and they're going to make a killing on it. I feel sorry for the younger people coming up. The young actor who's starting out, who's putting his stuff on the web, is not having any kind of coverage for the work that's being done. And we're in an evolutionary period now. Everything's going faster and faster and faster. And like, things happen and I'm like, I'm trying to keep up with it. You can imagine everybody else, and that's what's happening.
My name's Paul Prado. I'm a one-man shop. I am a content producer, I'm a content director, I'm a content writer, and I'm an actor. I couldn't do any of the things that I'm doing now without the internet. We're poor kids with some awesome resources, and we're at the cutting edge, and people trust us, and people want to hear what we have to say, because Discovery Channel, TLC, any reputable entity has a presence online, and they're looking for ways to make their presence known. When we're not making Red Bull commercials, when we're not making infotainment, we can sometimes create what, at least in our minds, are something a little more thought-provoking. Laura and I had had a few conversations over dinner, just recounting stories about people we had fallen in love with, or stories we'd heard about about things that just made us think or made us cry.
It must have been 99. That's when it was. You know what her name was? Her name was Jennifer. She was half German, half Asian. Now, I don't mean Asian in the racist way. I mean Asian, German, the Eurasian blend.
And we cranked it out in like 8 hours.
We run to the store just as they're closing, and I'm pounding on the gates. Let me in!
But it was thought-provoking, and it was honest, and it was raw. That's what the internet enables us to do. And I think the music companies are even starting to see it because we're not finding people getting harassed about throwing copyrighted songs on their fan videos. That's all it is. It's all appreciation. It's all love.
Is this real life?
There's been a constant fight of trying to hold down the younger generation and trying to stop them, but that's just not going to happen because the younger generation has grown up online and they're able to get what they want when they want it.
The beauty of the digital world is that there's no anchor. In some ways it was good because it opened up, creativity to a lot of people that didn't have access to it. I feel like in some ways it's bad because it opened up creativity to people that didn't have access to it.
I always say, do your own projects. Don't just sit around and wait for somebody to give you a job.
Hi, my name is Paul Prado, so I know you're probably gonna put that right here. That's your choice, or you can put it here in funny letters.
We don't really know how this is all going to work out, but we know we're in a time of change,